Welcome to the Like a Doss podcast, where Ronnie Doss shares insights regarding life, leadership, and personal development. For more of our resources, visit ronniedoss.com. Now, let's join the podcast.
Hey guys, it's Ronnie Doss. Welcome to the podcast. Today, I want to talk to you about something I've shared with a few different teams over the last week or so. And I find it really profound because, you know, when I'm working with teams, especially teams that are really producing, making great things happen, like that's obviously why I work with teams. That's the whole point, is to help them to do what they're doing better. But also along the way, the personal development component of it is helping the person to create a better experience while they're producing better results. Because if you have better results, so to speak, and output, that's wonderful. But if you aren't shifting your perception on life and being more creative, then what happens a lot of times is you can produce great results, but you're not happy with them. Like, you just don't enjoy what it is that you're making happen. And so I want to talk to you today about this idea of resting assured, in that if we rest, then their creative energy flows through us. From a place of giving ourselves permission to step away, to unattach, and not necessarily be absolutely immersed in the work that we do for our occupation so that we can be high output. Because the society that we live in right now is absolutely about the idea that you have to be performing all the time, working, making things happen to be able to acquire and consume. So if you don't have those things and you can't acquire and consume, then obviously you're not really that relevant. Or at least that's the come from the perception that so much of our society is really about in this capitalistic world that we live in, which is awesome. I love the fact that we can go out and earn, and we can go out and express and be creative in certain areas and be rewarded for that, and then have resources that we can use to help build a better life or to help other people build a better life or do what we want to with it. But I think there's something that we need to look at as far as resting and how we can really allow the infinite creative potential that we have to flow through us. And so I want to give you an idea today. This is something I've just landed on, and I think it's very profound, in that creative overpowers created. Creative overpowers created, meaning up until this point right now, you have created something. You've created a certain state of being with the home that you live in. You've created something with your physical health. You've created something with your finances. You've created something with the relationships that you have. Up until this point, you have created. Is that more powerful than the potential that you have for today and the possibilities that you can stand in? Well, absolutely not. No way. And so creative is more powerful than created. Like, ultimately, I don't really care what you've created up until this point. Like, it's not really that important. If I ask you to remember the first bicycle that you were ever given when you were a kid, and you say, yeah, I can remember it vaguely. It's like, well, great. What does that memory offer you? Well, nothing much. Well, this is what happens with pretty much everything from our past. What's it worth? Not much. Can you learn from it? Sure, you use it as a tool to help to create better, but if you're all locked into what you've already created, and that's important for you, that this is what you've created, so this must be who you are, you'll exhaust all your energy throughout the day simply reinforcing and justifying this old way of belief that you have lived with that's produced these results. And so you get more and more and more of the same. And so instead of living a life where you're trying to convince people that you're right about who it is that you are, maybe your focus shouldn't be in convincing, it should be in compelling. And that you compel yourself into possibility every day to see what you could make happen, versus always filtering everything that you experience through the old form of what has already been created so far. Doesn't mean that your past is not important in the sense that you have learned from it, but it is a school for education. It's not a hospital that you choose to live in for the rest of your life. It's not a retirement home where you finish. It's not. You look at your past and go, oh, that was great. I did it this way. I learned this. That was useful. That wasn't. Now, what will I create right now? And stand in this place of choice and possibility and forward movement of the renewing of your mind and your perceptions. Because if you don't work your perception, your old perceptions will work you. And when I say they will work you down, beat you down to where you don't believe that all these new possibilities are here for you. There's a quote by Tuli Kupberg where it says, when old patterns are broken, new worlds actually emerge. And I think that every single day there's the possibility for a new world to emerge for us. Physically, financially, relationally, spiritually. There's a brand new world that could emerge if we're willing to break some of the old patterns, do something just a little differently. Like you can change your life with just one moment of insane courage where you go, you know what? I'm doing this. Like we've been here for so long, but we're going here. I've been thinking about this up until this point this way, but today I'm going to choose to think a little bit different and create a different perspective. And from that place of possibility, then I move forward. Because every moment is exploration. Every moment there's an opportunity to find something. But if you don't believe that the new things that you could find are as important as reinforcing the old belief that you had found back then you're done. You're not really exploring. All you're doing is existing. You're just walking through life trying to be sane, keeping your mind, telling yourself that you already know something. When in fact, I think you and I become unbelievably powerful the moment we decide that we don't know. That could be some of the languaging that you use. Well, what did it mean that you grew up from in this town? Well, I don't know. What does it mean that you lost a job back then? What does it mean? I don't know. What does it mean that you have brown hair and brown eyes? What's that mean? I don't know. What does it mean? I don't know. I live in a place of I don't know. I'm open because the moment you think you know and you lock on to this form of what you've already seen, you lock out all these other possibilities. And all you do is reaffirm and re-strengthen some old belief that you've had. And I know, as you would agree, that what you believe determines what's possible for you. Like if you don't believe something's possible for you, then you're not even going to pay attention to it. If you don't believe that you could live in an awesome home by your design, then you're not going to look for ways to create the awesome home. If you don't believe that you could drive an awesome car, the car of your dreams, if you don't believe that you can make that happen, chances are it ain't ever going to happen for you. And so what's got to happen? Well, you got to give yourself permission to believe again and break some of the old patterns of how you used to do things so that a new world could emerge. Well, Ronnie, how do I do that? I mean, I got so many problems. Well, here would be the question that I'd ask you, and I'll leave you with this, and we can be done today, right? How would you act if the problem that you say you're facing weren't there? How would you act? How would you feel if the thing that you say is your biggest challenge in life weren't there? Well, I'd feel really good. Well, choose to feel that now and do the work. Choose that now. Find it. Shift in your perception. Stop being locked on to some old idea that now you want to argue to the death of your creative energy, because that's what you're doing. You're allowing your creative energy to die when you spend your energy arguing at some limitation that you just don't know. Certainty is a fast road to mediocrity. And certainty, as I said this recently, certainty without clarity can be destructive. I've heard that so many times. And it's powerful because you can be certain of what you can't do without having clarity of the big picture and what's possible for your future. And that can cause you to operate from a place of destruction. You can destroy all the hopes and the dreams that you had when you were first born onto this planet, where there was all sorts of possibility there for you. And now all you're doing is just reliving something that went on in the past. The numbers you produced before, the output you had before, the energy you had before, the way it used to look. All you're doing is using this creative force now to reinforce all of that. And you're taking your past and you're reliving it again and again. And at the end of the day, all we get is to be right about what we've made up. So we ultimately beat our chest saying, yes, I'm right about what my limitations are. When in fact, you don't know. Own that part. I don't know. And so since I don't know, I can show up today open. I can show up today excited. I can show up today believing the best. And then I can step into it with some bold courage and see what goes down. And over time, if I can stand in that again and again, even when I don't feel like it, I can find a way to step forward. And as you do that over time, over time, you start to produce a life that I believe you create an experience that you enjoy so much more, even one that maybe you can't explain. There's something about it that you feel. It's a bliss in a way that bankrupts the limitations that you've had. Think about that. Bankrupting the limitations that you once had when those old patterns are broken so this new world can emerge. Something to consider. Thank you guys so much for being on here today. Hey, visit our website, ronniedoss.com. If you want to register for our Emerge event coming up this Saturday, March 7th here in Scottsdale, Arizona, you can still do that, ronniedoss.com/events. We would love to see you there. You guys have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.